The Team Never Quit podcast is sponsored by Navy Federal Credit Union. Make a plan to do away with high-interest credit card debt by transferring your balance to a Navy Federal credit card. With a low intro APR and no balance transfer fees, you can pick the right card to help you save more. Check out NavyFederal.org for more information. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Team Never Quit podcast. So excited to be back yet another week dropping episodes. If you guys haven't already, you got to make sure you're subscribed on YouTube because we're dropping videos now every freaking week and they're awesome. People have given us great response. And Patreon. We got to talk about Patreon for a second. If you don't know what Patreon is, if you never heard me talk about it, it's essentially like an exclusive community of the Team Never Quit fans who just want to get some exclusive extra access to the show. We have bonus content. We have exclusive merch. It's a lot of fun. One of the cool things we do, though, is we allow our Patreon members to ask questions. And so let's kick it off with a Patreon question. Brandon asks, what's one thing you've taught your kids and you've seen them use in real life?
Do you want to answer that, Jason?
Yeah, that's a great question. What's one thing I've taught my kids and I've seen them use in real life? So we talked a little bit about this before the show kicked off. I'll be 44 on February 1st, and my kids are young. I've got a nearly 4-year-old daughter and a 1-year-old son. And so with my daughter, one thing I've taught her and I've seen her use is to stand up for herself. You know, I didn't want to have a daughter that basically laid down and let people walk all over her. You know, I want her to be able to be strong and confident and stand up for herself. And so we practice that as much as we can because she's so young. And I see her act that way with her little brother and then also with kids at school. Like if somebody's messing with her, she's not going to take that guff, you know, and I've been happy to see that, so much so that I'm a little concerned that maybe she could be going overboard at this point. You know, so I have to kind of pump the brakes a little bit, but I really like, especially for a daughter, to teach her that life lesson.
That's awesome. I think ours is probably bad words. We always, since they were.
Wait, I thought I was proud to see them.
No. Like
just one thing you taught them.
That's what you said.
No, like
that was the question.
Taught them bad words. I love it. Where's this going?
I want that to be made publicly right there because people think I'm the
bad
seal.
Words. We point out bad words. We do not use them. We don't teach them bad words.
Man.
Oh my gosh.
No, that was funny. Come on.
Okay, I walked into that.
You did. You
So,
totally walked right into that one. It was awesome.
We always point, even since they were 2 and 3, we'd point out bad words. And we would say, don't say that. That's a bad word. That's a bad word. Anytime they heard it on the radio or on TV or whatever, or if we even said it, if Marcus said it or I said it, we would call each other out on it. And so now that they're 8 and 9, if anybody says it, if we're in public or anywhere, they'll look at them. That's a bad word. You're not supposed to say that.
My most proud.
Awesome.
So I actually trained my kids to be Navy SEAL ninjas in between. I started at a very early age identifying colors. So and people and numbers. So when I would drop them off at school, on the way to school, we would talk and I would go over what president's on what dollar bill, what bone is this, how many bones are in your body, those most random questions. And then as they would come home, I was like, who's the first person you saw? What were they wearing? Because I would see that too. And I would ask if they were remembered. And then if they got it wrong, I was like, okay, we're going to go over it again. And we would so it literally became so much of a game type kind of good time to me doing that. The father thing, I get that, and the dad thing, but I literally trained mine for that. I'm like, what did you see? What happened right there? How did they react? And then I see them react that when I'm not looking. They don't see me sitting there. So I do that daily. Mm-hmm. And the greatest joy of that is just being, if you go deeper than that, is being a parent. Because every time that they grow, and with us, man, we can't help it. Because as soon as we get bored, we're going to look to do something. And then if you have those kids there, man, that's just something to do. Right, you can always teach them something, so that's fun.
That's awesome. I'm going to take that and use that myself.
Yeah, they do. They're looking at everything and observing. They go into a room and they scan it, and try and break everything.
Because Melly and I have our own codes and patterns, and then I'll be with the kids, and they'll do something like, "Where the hell did you learn that?" And they're like, "Mom." And I'm like, "Oh, all right, well, that's good. All right, cool." That deal. So we it started with us, just so because that's how we learned how to be together and do all this. It's been a lot of fun.
That is cool. I'm going to take that, teach my kids that same thing. That's great. Appreciate that.
Because that's how we're made, bro. I mean, I didn't know any better when we got out. I was like, "Well, how are you going to do this?" I was like, "Well, I guess if we can operate and like the way we do, kind of deal, and how much fun we can have with it, then if I can keep that mentality, which it's hard, but that's what I try to do."
Mm-hmm.
I love it. One thing I was thinking about when my kids get a little bit older is to help them understand how to negotiate. I was going to put them in if they wanted something or they wanted, Dad, I want to go hang out this weekend with my friends or my buddies or whatever. Want to go on a camping trip, whatever it might look like. I wanted to kind of put them in a mock court scenario where they had to be a lawyer. They have to be a lawyer and sort of convince me that it's a good idea to let them do what they want to do. But they got to be a little bit older for me to get into all that.
That's awesome.
Brandon, thank you so much for asking that Patreon question. If you want to ask a question to our guests, to the hosts, make sure to join us at patreon.com/teamneverquit. Hey guys, we've got a great guest in store today. Jason Van Camp is an exceptional guy, not successful just because of his personal accomplishments, but his will to win and his unique ability and willingness to unlock the potential of others. A decorated Green Beret and world traveler, Jason has mastered the art of storytelling. Jason is the founder and chairman of Mission 60 and the author of Deliberate Discomfort. Welcome to the show, Jason.
Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here. Looking forward to this.
So you got to take us back.
Okay.
Obviously, this show is all about the Never Quit story, but why don't you take us back and kind of tell us how you got your kind of start before you wrote this book, before you went to the Green Beret? Just take us way back.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll take you guys back. Just understand that you guys stop me and ask some questions because I sometimes can be a little long-winded. So just get after me and prompt me if I go a little too long. First off, I believe that if you never quit, you never fail, and that's sort of been a rule that I've lived by in my life. I grew up in Virginia, right outside Washington D.C., kind of in that area, and I played a lot of sports growing up. That's sort of what I did, and I was pretty good at football. And I ended up getting an opportunity to go play football at West Point, and so I went to West Point for my college.
All right, just like you asked, man, I'm going to back this. I'm going to jump in. So siblings, and is your family military? Because if a lot of people wonder about that, guys who turned out down the road that we had, do you have a history of military in your family, or do you have brothers and sisters?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So my dad was drafted in Vietnam, and he was a specialist in the Signal Corps. And my mother she worked for Delta Airlines as a supervisor. My mother passed away when I was younger. My dad, he had an interesting experience in the military. The way that he tells it is, right after basic training, they brought in all the guys in the Army, and they said, "We need some volunteers." And unless you're a dumbass, number one rule is you don't volunteer for anything, right? Like you just kind of don't do that.
Nobody knows that. Yeah, exactly. That's advice probably you could actually give to everybody going in.
Yeah, just be cool. You don't have to volunteer. Well, my dad volunteered. He raised his hand, and they selected him. And they told them, "We're going to send you, instead of to Vietnam, we're going to send you to Virginia Beach, where we're going to train you up on this state-of-the-art technology called computers." And back in those days, it was a big refrigerator-looking computer with punch cards, And so he went there and he learned how to do that. And then he was stationed in Paris, France, for a few months during the Vietnam War. And while he was there on furlough, on leave, he and a couple buddies went to Paris to have a good time, and they got absolutely trashed, and they tried to drive back. They ended up getting into a terrible car accident where everybody in the vehicle died except for my dad, who was sitting in the back. He broke his back and got messed up pretty significantly, and they let him out of the military. He came back to Washington D.C., became a bartender for a while, and then he ended up working as a government employee at the Pentagon, and then also at the AMC building. So that's what he did growing up. And whenever I asked him, "What do you do, Dad?" Like, for school, they asked us what our dad does. And I always just said he works for the government, and that's all he told me. So I didn't really ever know what he did, but that was pretty common in Northern Virginia. A lot of military families, a lot of families whose father, mother worked for the government, and you didn't really ask any other questions than that sort of thing. Oh, and then I have I'm the oldest. I've got a younger brother.
Any of them been in the military?
No, well, I guess yes. My grandfather on my mother's side, he was in World War II. He was in the Army Air Corps, which later became the Air Force. And he retired as a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force.
But sibling-wise, though, you're the only one that went in?
What's that?
Sibling-wise, like brother and sister-wise, you're the only one that signed up?
Yeah. My brother didn't go that route, and neither did my sister. Just me, brother.
Nice. Okay, so you were good at football. You're in Virginia.
Yeah, and I was thinking, I was like, man, I'm gonna go play some serious Division I football. I got some letters from the University of Miami and Florida State, and they came to see me, and they were like, you're on the smaller side, man. Like, linebacker, you're only 190 pounds. Like, look at the guys that we're recruiting. And they'll show us pictures of like LeVar Arrington, who's like 6'4", 260, And I got recruited by a number of smaller schools and West Point Naval Academy, Air Force Academy, places like that. And, my parents were super excited about the possibility of me going to West Point. And I decided to go there, man. So I went to West Point, made that decision as an 18-year-old, didn't know what I was getting myself into. And when I got up there, I had a terrible experience, man. It was not for me. I had to stick it out. And I left after my sophomore year to serve a mission for my church, and I went to Russia. And so I went to St. Petersburg and all around there for 2 years, came back to the States, played some football again at West Point, finished up my career there, and then was commissioned an officer, second lieutenant. And when I was at OBC, 9/11 hit. And that's when things got serious, And for me at that time, I was like, we're no longer a military, an army that's training. I'm no longer going to be evaluated on my PT scores, essentially. Like, we're actually going to combat. We're going to do some things. And if we're going to do that, I want to be at the tip of the spear. I want to be somebody who can control my destiny and make, strategic decisions and really help people. And so I volunteered to go to Ranger School and went and did that. Had a blast. Loved Ranger School. It was awesome, man. Was stationed in Korea for a little while, and then I went over to Iraq in the initial invasion.
All right, hold on, man. Back up a second. First of all, nobody likes freaking Ranger School. I know you're full of shit. I'm an 18 Delta, bro. All right, I'm a bastard, so I understand Army talk and what that is. So back up just a little bit further, man. Where were you at when 9/11 went down?
So I was an artillery officer.
Decided to go away and then came back. So I had one of my officers do that, and he was a complete badass. But the story that had him leave was even better. I'm not going to get you to tell that story. All right. But the fact that you came back and still made it in there is a testament.
If there's one thing we learned in 2020, it is that the internet is even more awesome than we thought. Groceries online, movies online, doctor's visits online, and of course, going to the post office online with our friends over at Stamps.com. Hey, we are sponsored today, this podcast episode, by Stamps.com, and that's because they allow businesses to do all their mailing and shipping right from their computer. No need to leave your home or office or your home office. Stamps.com has helped small businesses all over the country save thousands of dollars and tons of money, and you guys can too. Stamps.com, you get the service of the post office and the UPS right on your computer. You don't have to deal with the hassle of going to the post office and just the hours and the people and, the craziness. Plus, They offer big discounts on mailing and shipping rates. You guys know here at Team Never Quit, we have this shop and we sell some awesome merch, and we've been using Stamps.com now for probably going on 10 years. Stamps.com helps us do all of the things we need to do right here from our office without going to the post office. Here's how it works. All you guys have to do is use your computer. You can print official U.S. postage 24/7 for letters, packages, any class of mail, anywhere you need to send it. Once your mail is ready, you can schedule a pickup or drop it off. It's that simple. And with Stamps.com, you get 5 cents off every first class stamp and up to 40% off priority mail and up to 62% off UPS shipping rates. Stamps.com is a no-brainer. It's going to save you time and money, and there's no wonder over 900,000 small businesses are already using Stamps.com. So make 2021 the year you stop wasting time going to the post office and instead use Stamps.com. There's no risk. You can use our promo code TNQ. They're going to give you guys a special offer that includes a 4-week trial, and they're even going to send you a free postage and a digital scale. No long-term commitments, no contracts. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and type in TNQ. That's Stamps.com, promo code TNQ. Stamps.com, never go to the post office again.
And still made it in there is a testament. I only know of one other guy who's done that. So
yeah, it was tough, man. I'll tell you, like West Point sucked for me, man. It was like a bad marriage, like it just wasn't for me. I didn't click, man. I enjoyed the the guys on the team and everything else. And we're brothers, and football wise, we had some pretty hard seasons there. We weren't a winning football team, and then just being there was rough. For me. So I was happy to get out. And to your point about Ranger School, man, I'll tell you 100% honest truth. Ranger School is tough, man. It is. I don't care who you are. And there are some dark days. And those dark days, I just reminded myself, Jason, at least you're not at West Point. And that would get me through that day, man. Teach his own. Teach his own.
I get it, man. Yeah, I've been in some schools where I felt the same way. For whatever reason, when you get locked in there, man, it's just pure misery. And there's some and you can kind of jettison through and it's all good. I remember that very vividly. It's crazy too, because man, it happens even as you go through it, even while you're in. Like some of them schools, man, is tough. Yeah.
And it's just kind of also like who you're with. If you're with a group of good dudes that are, got your back and having a good time seems to move faster, and you seem to have a better time. That journey you're on, it's not about trophies. It's about people and the journey that you take with those people,
They're the trophies, right? The journey is the game that you do with them, right? And you capture them from that game. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Because I mean, there are times where you knew that it was more miserable than anything you'd been in, but if the dudes you're with, I mean, it's not work if y'all are doing it together, having a good time. I always, man, when I would fall into that was, you want to keep those guys close. It's like, hey, no matter what we're doing, it doesn't suck.
Yeah, no, 100%. We're on board with that, man. Hell yeah.
It's calamity and hilarity all mixed in one.
The worse experience it is for you, the funnier story it is for everybody else,
There's no better way to say that. And there were times where, bro, I was like, I would literally be, man, this is the time I need to quit. No one can be suffering like me. And then you roll your head over and see your buddy and he's got that face on. You're like, oh yeah, that's funny. Because that guy is sucking it bad, man, right? And just it's just the fact that we wouldn't leave each other. We had to sit through that. That's what creates that bond, and it's like in our worst moments, man, we just kind of laying there and we wouldn't walk away.
Yeah, my buddy Rusty Witt, he's a Green Beret too, man. He's a stud. During training, there was a guy that was just struggling. And he was barely making it, and he did a rucksack flop, and you guys understand what that is. And, during one of the events, and we're just sitting there feeling sorry for himself and talking about, I can't do this. I don't know if I should be here. I miss my girlfriend. I want to quit. And Rusty kind of leaned over to him, and everyone was starving, like hadn't eaten in a long time. And he goes, hey man, do you want some Skittles? He goes, you got Skittles, man? Yeah, I want some Skittles. And he goes, I don't got any Skittles. Shut the F up and get up, And the guy was so sad, And so we kind of say that from time to time when guys are having a rough time and say, hey, you want some Skittles, And just to remind you,
I don't have any.
don't be weak.
And the best one with us is like, what? Hey, is that bothering you? And they're like, yeah, a little bit. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna keep doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Marcus does that as a parent.
I do.
Very
Yeah.
annoying.
Oh man, that's I don't know if I could do that. My daughter would lean back and just crack me in the face if I did that to her.
No. The daughter. I don't. That's I'm talking about the boys.
You
The
do
boys.
too. You do it to her.
All right. There are some moments we'll have to
You
stand tall.
Totally do it to her.
What?
You made her run barefoot through a field at nighttime.
Well, first of all, it's not a field. It's our yard.
It's a field.
All right. Well, it's big.
It's a legit
All right,
field.
big
that
yard.
depends on where you're from. If you're in the country, it's a yard because I mow it. And we were training for karate. All right. So yeah. You're gonna throw that on me like child abuse? It's like it's literally on the PE teacher.
I'm just
and
saying
this-
you make her get in uncomfortable situations.
I do that, yeah. That toughens her up.
Good.
It does.
That's what I'm all about, man. That's
I
great.
put her in uncomfortable situations that she'll encounter out there, and if she can do, because I can take the pressure off, and if she can handle what I'm throwing down, then she can handle it out there. Because we've had to live through it. We've had to go through it, and I don't want her to ever look back and say, "Why didn't you teach me that?" So I err on that side.
I love it. I love it. That's how we learn. We put ourselves voluntarily, deliberately in these uncomfortable situations so we can get out of our comfort zone and grow.
I mean, I was like, how is it bad for me,
Better.
for them? But you and I like signed up to do it. Not only did we sign up to do it, I had to go through hell just to get the advantage and the permission to do that kind of thing. Run barefooted in my uniform at night. You know, that's like special forces stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
On the pass down, it's like, oh, you can't be doing that. I'm like, well, that's
Well,
what designed us.
They're children.
All right, there's that point. I understand that, but all right, I can't win this one. I understand.
You gotta be lenient with the kids. I get it. You're right. You're right. But you got a point. Train them early,
No, she does.
Because I know like the Navy SEAL community, I don't understand with the Army how it works. Like you go to Ranger school first, and then do you immediately go to Green Beret school?
That's completely two different things.
No, not necessarily. So there are two different things. The way that I kind of describe it, I guess, for people is we say, listen, if you're in the infantry, it's like kind of graduating from high school. If you go to Ranger school, it's sort of like graduating from college. And if you go to Green Beret route, Special Forces, it's sort of like getting your master's degree. And then your PhD would be like Delta Force, something like that in the military terms. So Rangers are guys that they're door kickers, they learn how to do advanced infantry tactics really, really well. Green Berets are guys that train indigenous forces to kick the doors down for us, and then we kind of fall in behind them. That's how I kind of simply describe it for folks.
Okay. We know a couple of Green Berets, but I've never asked them that.
No,
Yeah.
that's how it is. That's the simplest way to explain it. You can argue about the details all day, but yeah, Rangers take down airfields. Like you send them in. You need that done. Don't send us in. Each guys are designed for a certain reason, and a ranger will tell you straight up he's not SF. He's like, oh, Ranger. You can't. There's no mistaking them at all.
So that's Chad Fleming.
Yeah, and then you have SF guys right? who have a Ranger qualification, because being at battalion, this is getting deep now, right?
Yeah.
Don't understand it, but
yeah,
that's fine.
Army's so damn complicated. It's unbelievable.
Ranger guys, you see them, they'll have a high inside, they'll be clean shaven, and they'll look the part. The SF guys, they have relaxed grooming standards. You know what I mean? Hair's maybe a little longer. Maybe they have a beard. If they're in combat, and if they have their hands in their pockets, generally speaking, you're probably talking to a Green Beret guy.
So how would you compare? It's probably like, okay, think about it like this. In the Army, if you had a Marine Corps Special Forces unit, the equivalent, them, high and tight, Ranger regs, you do that by the numbers. It's like, if you want to look at what a soldier looks like when they go into combat and look good, kind of like them dudes. Then you got the SF like us. Sideburns are long. You can't get them in the right damn uniform. It's like the bastard kids that they.
But out of our friends, is Chad a Ranger?
Yes.
Okay. I'm trying in my head.
So
I'm
there's
trying to
multiple, you can
picture it.
ask that
Okay.
question and say yes, and there's more. That's the
Okay.
thing about them, is like, it's the most complicated. And that's how you know if you're talking to somebody who's been around, because like, yeah, and then there's this. I'm like, that's true. There is that.
Yeah. There's always an exception to the rule, or somebody that
The rules
In
doesn't fit in that.
Green Beret.
that you can't. Yes,
Okay.
but there's more.
Okay.
So I mean, it's kind of like, it's unbelievable.
Okay. All right. Sorry. Go
That's
ahead.
what I love.
Well, they're good questions, and everyone wants to know. So that's good
And
stuff.
I
That's
know
great.
a lot of our listeners don't we've got a lot of civilian listeners.
That's great, because it's hard to explain.
Yeah.
Because if you try, just with me and you here, we don't cover down on everything. So there needs to be another guy on the other side. And he's like, well, now there's this, because I'm a bastard too. I'm a SEAL, but I'm an 18 Delta Green Beret medic. That's how it works. That's how they connect us. There's no SEAL medics. There's
only because 18 Delta is part of the Army school.
the Army Green Beret pipeline. So there are no SEAL medics. That's not how it works. We're actually Green Beret medics that get us. It's whoever designed it, when they got to that part, well, it must have been like, what do we do? I was like, well, let's just do this and see what happens.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I'm like, dude, how could you put us together like that? Thank God they did, because those interops were like with Sniper School and those follow-ons. Putting us together like that is what connects us.
And 18 Delta is at Fort Bragg.
At Bragg. Oh yeah,
Okay.
in the heart of it, Fayetteville, dude, right there.
the guys that will save your life on the battlefield. You want to make sure that you're friends with your 18 Deltas. Like you want to make sure that they're taken care of, because if you do get in trouble, they're the first person you're going to call.
And
Marcus, come over. Tim, come over here.
Yeah, the greatest part about the Deltas is that you don't recognize, they won't identify themselves, because they don't like being that, right? Because they want to be the shooter or an echo, because it's different in SF.
Okay, sorry. I went down a rabbit hole of that.
Yeah, you're about to get me down one too.
Well,
I was
no,
gonna
I
say, you got Alphas, Bravos, Charlies.
I didn't mean to do that. I wanted a clarification of Ranger versus Green Beret. But in order to be a Green Beret, you have to go to Ranger school first.
No, you don't have to. Most people do, though.
Okay.
Yeah, most people do. You don't have to. Like they started something called the 18 X-ray program a number of years ago, which instead of actually going into the Army first, now they're saying for people just off the street, like you can sign up for this 18 X-ray program and become a Green Beret and go through this pipeline. Of course, you have to prove it and earn your way there, but you don't have to serve in the regular Army for a number of years before you have the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Ranger.
Say again?
You deploy as a Ranger.
Yeah, people deploy as Rangers, as Green Berets, and as infantrymen and so forth.
I meant you, like before you went to Green Beret school, did you?
Oh, no. Well, yeah, I guess I did. So I went to the initial invasion of Iraq as a Ranger tabbed first lieutenant. And then when we got back from the initial invasion, I think we had like 6 months where we were training and doing things, and I decided to submit my packet for Special Forces Assessment and Selection. And so then I went to the Q course at Fort Bragg. And once you get there, it's for me, I was an 18 Alpha, which is an officer. It's basically a 2.5 year pipeline where you're at Fort Bragg, not deploying, just going through training, in the woods and so forth.
Okay.
It's just like ours.
Yeah.
When you hear the Alpha, that's an officer, right? And then they have to go through the same. It's same but different kind of deal. Imagine brothers in a family that played 2 different sports.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
We'll get back to your story. Sorry, I totally interrupted because I know I'm not the only one with that question. So.
It
No,
took
it's a good
40 something years to figure just that out, what I explained. So don't worry, you figure it out.
That's right.
Thing.
Yeah. So where did we leave off?
You liked Ranger school, which Marcus found that hard to believe, but you enjoyed Ranger
I
school.
did. It was hard, but I liked it because of the people there, and it was just a better experience. I mean, it's tough. I lost 26 pounds or something, and but I went all the way through. I didn't recycle, which is, knock on wood, lucky, because most people do recycle a couple of times. But I was lucky there, and I generally, looking back on things, I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was,
They
cool.
send our officers there when you can volunteer, but if you screw up, you get sent there.
I heard that. Yeah.
Officers there. Most people don't know that. Most civilians don't know. Like, what happens if you get out of line as a SEAL? We'll send your ass to the Army.
I heard one time, I heard a horror story from there was a Navy SEAL that went to the Naval Academy. He was enlisted and went to the Naval Academy, and I guess he got so out of shape at the Naval Academy. One of his instructors was like, "You're an embarrassment. You need to go back to Buds." So he set his ass back to Buds as a midshipman, having already earned his trident, as the story I heard.
What?
That's probably true.
That's
awesome,
crazy.
by the way. I'm going to make a phone call on that
Yeah.
right away.
And he passed again. That's just a rumor I heard. I just, for whatever reason, it came to my mind. But that would be ridiculous. That would be hard to swallow that one.
Yeah, I've heard of two different guys that got into the teams, did something, lost their trident, and they said, well, you can get it back if you go back through Buds, SQT, like the whole pipeline again, and they did it.
Oh my God.
Yep.
And one of them made it back.
That's
Dang.
We actually have a friend.
I wouldn't have done that, for the record.
I bet you would.
Are you kidding me?
We have a friend that went to West Point, became a Ranger, and then ended up getting into the SEAL teams, and now he's in the FBI. I'm like, you checked off every cool.
You can't even talk about this dude. He's like he's been in every mission, every invasion.
We can't say his name, but
I mean, he's even the missions he did in the FBI are unbelievable.
I know,
right?
they're really cool.
Really?
Oh, bro, he's like one of those, when you look at him,
you think he's a banker.
perfect hair, get that jawline. He's like real smart, articulate. Everyone likes him, even the guy, if you knew that kind of dude.
He's so sweet too.
He's not. I'm gonna say
He
that
is
online,
sweet.
but I mean,
He's like a sweet
whatever.
guy.
He's straight up badass. And so he exists.
Yeah.
I like him. Like that. What's that guy's name? John Kim, who was
Yes.
is that his name? He's a Navy SEAL, Harvard business guy. He got his he's a doctor, medical doctor.
Yep.
And he did something else. Now he's an astronaut.
Yeah.
Astronaut.
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
Achieving nexuses. So listen to this. I was in first phase at SEAL training in Buds, and they had us by the pool deck on the grinder, like 4 a.m. They were freezing to death, and we were sitting in our boat cruise and laying down beside each other. And the guy next to me, big dude. I mean, big guy. The instructors walk over and they're like, "Hey," he's like, "We heard you were a Green Beret." He's like, "Yeah, who ya?" And I'm like, an 18 Delta Green Beret for that matter. And then he goes, "And you were Force Recon Marine." He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "What in the hell are you doing here?" He's like, "Oh, I thought I'd take a break." That's what this dude said. This was first phase in SEAL training. This is what this joker said while I was laying right there. And I couldn't believe it.
This episode is brought to you by Free. Free is a modern nicotine pouch brand. They have an emphasis on impact and quality, and that's exactly what they deliver. Free nicotine white pouches are not derived from tobacco and are made using tobacco-less premium grade nicotine. My little brother has been smoking now for a few years, and he's been telling me like, "Hey, I'm trying to get a new job, trying to drop the habit, but I'm still looking to get that nicotine." Free is the perfect nicotine product for a never quitter because it's mobile and discreet. You don't have to worry about stopping to smoke or stopping to adjust your dosage. Smooth and steady release with long-lasting flavor. You don't have to stress about not getting what you want out of each patch. They have the highest milligram options, more than any other brand. They got 9 and 12 milligram options, flavors, mint, mocha. They've even got a flavorless option. A lot of brands out there say non-tobacco or tobacco free, but they still extract nicotine from a tobacco plant. That's not the case with Free. Theirs is synthetic, even safer, no irritants from any of the tobacco plant. And you can get them for under $5 at 10. You got 20 pouches in a 10. You got no need to spit. No powder leakage inside the 10. They're an American company. Hey, they even offer discounts up to 40% off for military veterans and police. And they've got a great deal for you guys. All you have to do is visit freepouch.com to go purchase some of their brand new products. You can use our discount code. It's TEAMFREE. That's Team FRE for 20% off for a limited time. One more time, freepouch.com. That's FRE pouch.com. Get that 20% off discount. All you have to do is use our code TEAMFREE. Remember to support our sponsors because they support us.
He used to hug me like his woman, like to get warm. That's how I would have to sit in front of the funniest thing. I mean, this guy, he swung an axe through time at people's head. Those guys, we have them, right? The ones that you're like, you break out in case of war. Otherwise, just leave him alone, stay out of his way. And He watched out for me through SEAL training, but I'll never forget him saying that. I thought I might have been in the wrong class, in the wrong, because I was like, wow.
That's funny.
So we,
Yeah, it's sort of like, hey, I don't know this guy. I'm not associated with him in any way. Don't punish me for, I don't know,
Yeah, that's so
dude, he was the
funny.
man. He was awesome.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty
Okay.
cool.
All right, let's hear. We want to hear more about you.
Okay.
I'll ask Chris all day.
Yeah. So went to Special Forces selection, did that. I thought the training was amazing. Again, like being around some amazing leaders and learning so much, and was sent to 10th Special Forces Group at Fort Carson, Colorado. Was there for just a month or two before we deployed. And so I was a detachment commander, took a team over to Iraq for the second time. And we were over in Asadia Jalula, which is just kind of northeast of Baghdad.
What year was that?
2007.
I'll check.
Yeah.
I was in Ramadi.
Oh yeah, you were in Ramadi. So yeah, we're fairly close there. My situation was weird because the battalion was taking, I think, 15 teams. And because I had just got there just a month or so beforehand, they told me, they're like, Jason, your team is number 16 on the list. You guys aren't deploying. And, I was brand new captain there. And I went back to my team and I told the guys, this is the situation. And they were like, oh, hell no. If you're worth a damn as a captain, you're going to go back up there and you're going to convince the battalion commander to take us because we're not going to be sitting on the sidelines, And so I was like, okay, and I was all nervous. What am I going to say? And somehow I convinced the battalion commander to take us, and he said, well, I don't know where to send you guys. Pick a spot to go and figure it out. So we did some research and we found out that there was a place that coalition forces hadn't been in maybe 3 years up in this Asadia Jalula area. And we had no idea, no reporting from this area, no idea what was going on. And we got up there and found out it was completely saturated with Al-Qaeda. And on the second day there, my team hit an IED and two of my guys went home on the second day. Neither of them were killed or anything, but they were hurt pretty significantly. And we knew it was sort of game on. And that whole time there, I was attached to another company, and it was like the Wild West, like every day we're going on mission, getting a firefight, an IED, something going on. And that was a rough deployment. I had my team sergeant got shot. He got sent home. My 18 Charlie was my engineer. He got shot in the head and died in my arms. That was a rough one. But we did a lot of good over there. We liberated a number of towns, and we captured or killed, a lot of high value targets and bad dudes. We got back to the States, had another 6 months off, maybe just 4 months off, probably 4 months off. And then we went back to Iraq again. This time I went to Nasiriyah down south. And that was a pretty quiet deployment compared to the last one, more of going after precision targets, that sort of thing. We lived on a base where the ancient city of Ur was located.
Oh, cool.
So the ziggurat of Ur, where Abraham was born, was like right outside our compound.
Did you go up there?
Hell yeah, we did, man. We went up there all the time. We're
cool.
like, we went treasure hunting, man.
Exactly. That's what I want to ask. All right, man. Did you go digging in there? Come on.
We dug up. I got some cool artifacts that I found there. It's cool, just cool, man.
About as old as it gets back there, man.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that was my deployments. Kind of weird for me. I went on a JSET, a Joint Combined Exchange training to Mali, Africa, and we were training Tuareg rebels. Or I'm sorry, we were training Echelon Tactique Inter-Armée soldiers, or the army there in Mali, to fight against Tuareg rebels that were coming down from the Sahara up north. And these rebels were, Muslim extremists, and they were destroying towns and raping women and killing kids and the whole thing. And while we were doing this, I our team was warned. They're like, hey guys, there's some crazy diseases in Mali. Be careful. The last team had 2 guys that got spinal meningitis and had to be medevaced out.
Gosh.
You know, and so we're like, oh my gosh, like, you know, don't drink the water. You'll get river blindness. Parasites will, you know, go into your eyeballs and eat your
Oh my God.
eyes out, and you can't see.
Love to live over there.
It's crazy. And we're like, where are we going again? Like,
Tell you about it. Why would I even go over there?
like what's going on? Like, I don't want to mess with. So anyway, so we were over there, and I got sick, really sick one night. We had a patrol base out in the woods with these ETIA, Echelon Tactique Inter-Army guys, and we were embedded with this local tribe. I mean, wearing loincloths, and they had spears and the whole thing. It was crazy. I got really sick one night, and I thought, I just ate something bad or whatever. And I started getting delirious, and my 18 Delta, my medic was like, you know, Jay, this doesn't look good, man. I'm worried. You know what's going on with all this stuff over here. I want to see if we can get you out of here. And so they took me back to the embassy, and what happened was I somehow came down with a seizure disorder. And so I started having tonic-clonic seizures, epilepsy,
Oh my God.
got back to the States. And
Came down with that?
what's that?
That's what they said, that you ran with a tonic-clonic syndrome?
I got it. Yeah. I came back to the States, and I'd start having these seizures
That's
and
the thing.
shaking and falling and biting my tongue and memory loss and the whole thing. And my guys, my unit, they were like, dude, we don't want to lose you. You know, we want to make sure we'll keep this under wraps and try to see if we can take care of you, go to a neurologist. And over the past few years, like, it just and there was no rhyme or reason to it. It would just sort of happen. And they're like, were you stressed out? Or it's like, I don't know. And finally I got kind of promoted to you know, as you do as an officer, to a staff position. And my first day on the job in my staff position, I had a seizure at work in front of everybody, you know, and my boss was like, dude, what's going on with you, man? And I told them what was going on. They're like, well, you know, you can't shoot, you can't jump out of an airplane, you know, you can't deploy. She's like, hell, man, you can't even drive officially. And so they're like, we just want to get you fixed. And so for the next year or so, I went to, you know, top neurologists in Denver and North Carolina, Duke, you know, and so forth. And finally they're like, Jason, you know, we don't know what's up, but what we can do is this. We can give you this medicine and hopefully it helps, or we can have you come in and induce a seizure, have these electrodes on your skull, and we'll know exactly where the seizure is occurring in your brain. I'm like, okay. And they're like, well, then we're gonna go in there and we're gonna cut out that part of your brain that's causing the seizure. And I'm like, huh. I'm like, well, that seems pretty drastic. Will that affect me in any way? They're like, well, it might turn you into a vegetable. I'm like, well, would it cure the seizures? We don't know. It might cure the seizures.
That's supposed to be the upside of that.
You know, I'm like, okay, well, I think the decision is pretty clear here. I'm just going to continue taking the medicine and hopefully things will work out. And so I did that, and they gave me a medical retirement at a little over 14 years. And I said to myself, now what? What am I going to do with myself? And I looked around, and my buddies, not all of them, but a lot of them had started their own businesses and doing different things in different industries. And I remember my mother told me, she said, show me your friends and I'll show you your future, when I was younger. And I was looking at my friends and I thought I could start a business too. And so I started, you know, kind of cliche, but I thought to myself at the time, I'm passionate and knowledgeable about leadership. I'll start a leadership development company. And so I started that up, and just out of sheer force of will and determination and so forth, we've been able to become fairly successful so far.
Oh my gosh, that is crazy.
Yeah, weird. Everyone's got a story. I didn't think that was going to be my story, but it is, you know.
It's amazing how what it takes to generate someone else out of that lifestyle. Because when we get in it, we get consumed by it, and then when you hear those guys that have to really go through those ringers just for them to propagate out and start that new career, it's something. I mean, and it's kind of a repetitive thing on here. It's just said different ways. When you, it's one of them deals where like, man, I don't have anything else to do, or I had to go this direction. Is that same thing that drove you to go in is the same thing that driving you now, or was it different?
No, I think, when I first joined the military my purpose, or I guess what was driving my motivation, my inspiration was to collect as many stories as I possibly can. When I was really young, I remember sitting around kind of a Christmas table with my dad and my uncles were all telling these hilarious stories, and everybody was laughing, and I just wanted to contribute. I wanted to be a part of that, but I had nothing to say. I had nothing to share, at a young age. And I just kind of sat back and I thought to myself, one day I'm going to have more stories than all you guys, And so I sort of lived my life under that decision-making sort of ideology, meaning, when I was presented an opportunity, I would say to myself, could this be a good story? And if it turned out that it would be, then I would say yes to that. And as I got older and I matured and so forth, I realized, like we talked about earlier, it's not about stories, it's about people and the journey that you take with those people. And so my mindset shifted from sort of being selfish, about collecting these stories, to being selfless, to caring about, the people that I'm here with, my men and so forth. So just like we learn in the military, it's about, the mission, then the team, then the teammates, and then finally all the way at the bottom, yourself. And so as I kind of matured, I kind of learned that. And now I kind of feel the same way. It's all about finding your purpose. And in the military, you have a purpose and you have a community. And when you get out, it's kind of hard to find that purpose again and that community again. And that's partly why I created this leadership development company, is because I want to help people. I want to make money, and I want to do epic shit. That's what Mission 60 is all about. And as a result of our success there, I created a nonprofit called Warrior Rising, and we help veterans start their own businesses, and we've been pretty successful there as well, helping them find their purpose in the community again through business ownership.
This episode of the podcast is brought to you guys by High Key. Listen, I'm a snacker. I like to eat snacks, but I also know that it's 2021, which means I need to drop the COVID-19. I need to drop those pounds. I need to start focusing on my health, but I don't want to stop snacking. I'm a snacker, all right? If you're looking for healthier for you snacks that don't taste like hot garbage or trash, and you want something that's good, but still healthy, low carb, gluten-free, keto, even vegan snacks that aren't going to taste like cardboard, then High Key's products, their snacks, are incredible. And I'm not just saying that. They sent me a box of snacks. They sent me a box of a lot of the snacks that they have. And I've got to tell you, the caramel clusters are absurdly good. They're 4 grams net carbs, which means they're keto friendly, which is awesome, but I got to pace myself, okay? Because they're delicious, all right? The cool thing is they have no added sugar, no grains, no gluten. Their snacks are so low carbs and sugar that they are keto friendly. They're amazing. They've got chocolate chip mini cookies. They got a protein cereal. They've even got a 100% money back guarantee, so you can try any of their products risk-free. You can get their snacks delivered right to your door. Get ready to crush those 2021 goals. Sugar is canceled, all right? High Key deliciousness is in. They've got a great offer for you guys, all right? They're going to give you 15% off your order. All you have to do is visit high-key.com/TNQP. They guarantee you'll love it or your money back. To get 15% off your order, just go to HighKey, HIGHKEY.com/TNQP. That's HighKey.com/TNQP, and they're going to give you 15% off. I'm telling you, if you're looking for a healthy alternative to snacks that are low carb, keto friendly, and amazingly delicious, then check out HighKey.com/TNQP.
Awesome.
So where were you at when you came out? Because I kind of tell the guys, I'm like, hey man, for every 10 you're in is 2 to detox. And then to kind of come back around and reintegrate into your new platoon or squadron, and that's our families and our towns and the people around us. And some of the guys will say, hey, look, man, there's no job description for a sniper out there. I'm like, no, not for the sniper job title, but everything that goes into making up a sniper, yes, up into the trigger pull. I mean, all those characteristics, man, make an exceptional businessman.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. All those, everything we learned, all the skills.
Yeah, everything. I mean, people ask about our stories because it was kind of the same way in my family. It's like, hey, don't worry about the money. You go out and make a million memories, save $1 from each, and then we'll come back and live them out. And bro, I kind of grew up the same way. When I would come home and my uncles would be home with my father sitting around the table, and the stories they would tell, it didn't matter what it was. You're just so enamored by it. They're like, I want to go out and make those too, so I can come back and sit at the table. Have a place at the table.
Exactly.
You get to that point to where you know, when the teacher's ready, the student will appear. So then everyone, you know, that comes to that point to when you're trying to pass it back down. When was that for you?
I guess, you know, I always want to say that I'm a lifelong student, you know, I'm always wearing my white belt, so to speak. But when I became the teacher, you know, you don't want to put the cart before the horse, but I think on the Van Camp family crest, there actually is a cart before a horse. You know, it's sort of how I've just lived my life. So when I feel
I actually knew
passionate
that. That's
and
why
excited, you know what I mean? Like I'm passionate, excited about sharing what I've learned with other people. That's the best time to be a teacher. You know, when guys get out of the military, guys and girls, and they ask themselves the same question we all ask, now what? I feel like either, you know, you get a job, you start a business, or you get some kind of professional help. If you're dealing with something mentally, post-traumatic stress or what have you, you need to go get some help. And I agree with you that for a lot of people, take that time to detox and go do something, go travel the world, go whatever. Do not sit at home and just play video games, you know, like go do something, whatever it might be, learn something. And maybe you're not making the money that you want to at first, but at least you're enjoying yourself and learning something new and new skill set and kind of developing that post-military mindset, which you need to have. You know, for people that say, you know, I want to create something, I want to help other people, and I want to make money doing it, you know, I say business is a great way to do that, you know, and I've been successful starting my business, and I want other people to kind of feel that same joy as well in starting their own businesses.
Awesome. So tell us about your business and like how people can interact with you, or how can people help you with your business?
Yeah, I'll tell you guys. So I got two things going on. Like I said, Mission 60 and Warrior Rising. I'll talk about Warrior Rising first. It's a 501c3. It's a veteran service organization, a nonprofit. And we love to partner with other nonprofits. You know, like a lot of times in the military, you know, well, at least when you get out, you think to yourself, everybody's my competitor. That's not a good way to look at things. Like everybody could be a collaborator. You know what I mean? So cooperate and graduate is sort of how I look at it. Like if we're all helping veterans, that's fantastic. Let's do it together. And so the way that I do it is in the most altruistic way I know how. We help veterans help themselves find their purpose in community again through business ownership. And so we started this in 2015, and now in 2020, we've helped, I think, close to 6,000 veterans start their own businesses, over 1,500 in 2020 alone. We've raised close to $1 million last year alone. So we're not a huge nonprofit, but we give 82.4% of every dollar earned back to the veteran. We have 5-person staff, administrative staff right now. And I'm just so proud of what we do. You know, we help veterans when they have a business idea, they come to us and we have an intake call. So we have a one-on-one call with them. Somebody on my team, a specialist, has been trained to talk to that veteran about their business idea, whether or not it's a good idea, whether or not they have the time or the financial bandwidth to do this, whether or not their spouse is supportive of this, you know, and whether or not it's a good or bad idea, we let them know very bluntly, like, this is how we feel. If they want to continue with their business creation, we let them into our Warrior Academy, which is an online training platform, translates the military decision-making process into a business model, 40 video curriculum. You're on your own to go through that. It's sort of like a ranger school in a way where you have to prove to yourself and to us that you're willing to do the work. It's hard. There's some homework involved and so forth. And when you come out the other end of it, you should have the makings of a business model. And if you do, we kind of send you along further in our pipeline, and you go into the next phase, which is mentorship. So we'll give you a one-on-one mentor, and you and the mentor together create a go-to-market strategy. And then the next phase is you apply for a grant from Warrior Rising, or we give you an investment opportunity. So we introduce you to someone who will give you an investment of some sort, and you negotiate that with the investor. And then our final phase is community. So prior to COVID, we had 19 locations across the country where we would have, monthly events, lunches, dinners, go to the range or what have you. And we'll bring in, our mentors and talk to you about your businesses. Since COVID, we tried to start doing this online, and it just didn't really work. The last thing you want to do after a long day is jump on another, Zoom conference call. So our platoons, our chapters are sort of defunct right now until we can get COVID resolved, and then we'll get that going again.
Don't look at it like that. I looked at COVID like a deployment.
Yeah.
And I was telling everybody that, man, it's just that they were just locking us down. Before all this happened, I would hear people talking about, I could just sit at home on my computer. I'd be with my kids. Everything would be fine. I'd square it away. Boom, get locked down. What do you want? You hate it. Everyone hates it, right?
We loved it.
Yeah.
Oh, it was our favorite year ever.
It's that's the difference in our communities and our generation. It's like when we come out, we're actually looking not only to better ourselves, but to better with a team environment. Like I want to make your life so good because I want to come hang out in it sometimes. I like to live in it because of the way you enjoy things and the way you see things, as opposed to coming in there to take everything you got and work your to death so I can go enjoy mine. That's not how it works with us. And that's the hardest part for some of us when we come out, we're like, I'm not used to this. People trying to, I'm used to getting beat in the face, but it's usually for a purpose, not somebody else's gain by themselves. And with us, we come out there, and when you show that, we're like, hey, look, man, we're going to put it out together, and we're going to grow this so fast, and with so much strength that you can't pull it down. And that's how we operate, because that's how we had to live. I mean, they threw us in a 20-year war with an enemy with no face. We're all we had. You know what I mean? It created something completely different. So when you're coming out, everything that you learn, it resonates with everybody in our generation, because you couldn't have guys like us unless everyone was like that.
Let's take a second to thank our sponsors over at Navy Federal Credit Union. They have been supporting our show for going on 2 years now, and we are so grateful for that, because that means we get to drop new episodes every single week. So Navy Federal, thank you guys so much for supporting us. Carrying a credit card balance after the holidays, we've all been there, all right? Trying to get the coolest gifts for your kids, trying to take care of your family, racking up the bill, buying all that food you got to feed the whole group. We understand it. Let Navy Federal Credit Union help you rebalance your priorities in 2021. They've got a balance transfer offer, all right? You'll save more with a low intro APR when you transfer your balance from another lender to a Navy Federal credit card. Plus, with no balance transfer fees, you can choose the card that fits your lifestyle and be on your way to doing away with the high-interest credit card debt. You can even manage your balance transfer safely and securely through their incredible Navy Federal mobile app or online. 2020 came with a lot of unpredictability, and if you're looking to save more and take back control in the new year, transferring your balance to a Navy Federal credit card is a great first step. Check out NavyFederal.org for more information and to apply. 5.99 to 18% variable APRs based on product types and creditworthiness. Up to $1 cash advance. Transaction fees at non-Navy Federal ATMs. Message and data rates may apply. Visit NavyFederal.org for more information.
They just wouldn't have us modeled out of something else. It's generational. That's why we are the way we are.
Determined, resourceful, loyal to each other, and then opportunistic.
To a fault. To a damn fault, man.
Yeah, I agree. And even when I lived in Russia, the economy crashed in 1997. And people were literally on the streets, standing in front of banks that were now absolutely flat broke. You know what I mean? And I saw so many people just stand around looking for someone else to save them. What should we do? And I saw other people that were just hustling, coming up with ideas on the streets, developing businesses, doing things, hustling their asses off. And after about a year, those people that were hustling became the new mafia, the new rich.
Correct.
And they were just crushing it, had more money than they knew what to do with. And the people that just sat around and did nothing. They still had nothing. And so when COVID hit, I kind of remembered that experience in Russia. And I said, let's hustle, man. For Mission Zig Zero, we can no longer do in-person events. We can't do keynote, presentations. We can't do team building. We can't do any of this stuff. Let's go virtual. And so we did. We developed a master class that we're offering. We have a challenge right now. We just launched our first class yesterday, where, with our model, mental, physical, spiritual, social, emotional, professional, you say mentally, you got to read a book a week. Physically, we'll give you a workout program for 60 minutes at the gym, 60 minutes for cardio in the same day, and a nutrition plan. And if you want to upgrade, we can have meals delivered to your house. Spiritually, we want you to listen to these mindfulness exercises that John McCaskill, who's a Navy SEAL, he created every day to practice mindfulness. Socially, we want you to reconnect with somebody, a friend, a family member, a past friend, somebody you've had a falling out with, and have a meaningful conversation with them every day. Emotionally, we want you to write a page in a gratitude journal every day. And then professionally, we have a master class and you watch a video every day and then you post about it, So we had 200 people sign up for the first class. And after day one, we have 196 people left. So we're doing that right now. Just an idea that we had. It's going pretty well. We're excited about it.
Awesome.
That's a day in our life. I mean,
that's every day for you guys. Yeah.
You go down the end, the after action at the end of it. That's
book a week. My great grandmother was the town librarian, and she read a book a week her entire life until she died at 94.
That's impressive.
Her kids and her grandkids all did the same. Like my dad pretty much reads a book a week. And
my mom reads 5 books a week, like at the same time. It's the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen.
Dang,
I didn't get that. No.
No, but I think that is something that a lot of people don't realize the importance of it or the benefit of it, but it really does sharpen your mind, and you don't realize how much you learn, even if it's a fictional story, just everything from vocabulary to just keeping your mind sharp. I'm glad that you teach that, because that is a really good thing.
We got so many, like for me, I've got so many books just stacked up on my nightstand, and life gets away from you from time to time. And you think to yourself, I should read that book. I need to read that book. I need to do this. I need to do that. And you just need a kick in the pants every now and again. And for us, you need a team to help you that you are committed to, and you say, just like we did when we were on, our military teams, right? Like, I'm not going to let you down, because I know sure as hell that you're not going to let me down. And so if you're counting on me to do this, I'm going to do it. And that's what you need sometimes.
Yeah.
The best way I can relate it to get guys to do it was when we were in the platoon space, and everyone would, if you were the new guy and everyone was reciting the movie quotes that were funny and you didn't know them, then your ass went in there and watched the movie. Until you got it down, right? And that way, when you came back out, when they were talking about it, like, oh, now I get it.
Is that an Army thing too? Because every Navy SEAL speaks in movie quote language.
Oh, it's certainly. Yeah, it's got to be military.
Our universal language. If you're in an alternate branch, if you speak that, you're fine.
Marcus speaks to me in movie quotes, and I don't.
Sometimes people get scared and leave because the movie quote is it's terrifying, but it's supposed to be funny at the time. And
I'll see the movie 15 freaking times, and it might be one of my favorite movies, and I still.
Which movie is your favorite?
I mean, Lonesome Dove is my all-time favorite, but for comedies, I love like Wedding Crashers and The Proposal and stuff.
The New
like
Vacation.
That. Oh my gosh.
We're the Millers.
That kind of stuff just makes me laugh so hard.
No regrets, huh?
Not regrets.
None?
Not a one. Not a letter.
Not a one? Nah, man.
Right. Yeah. So when like yesterday, my brother, we had the kids out and they had the little 4-wheelers and motorcycles, and my brother takes off on one of those little track bikes. I mean, it's a little 50 and he flips it. Nobody saw it, bro. But then he comes back up and he's like, my arm's broke. And right in the middle of knocking all the dust off, he leans over, he's like, oh, I fucking hate making movies. You know, just a complete out of left field Tropic Thunder Jack Black line, dude. And I was like, yes, dude. Brought levity to the whole, so you knew exactly what he was going through, right? Because you understand that pain from, and that's why our actors are so great. But yeah, we do that. It's a thing.
Yeah, man. Tropic Thunder. People ask me sometimes, what's the most accurate war movie ever made? I'm like, it's a good question. Tropic Thunder, you know?
Tropic Thunder. I always have to say that.
What can you tell us a couple of the businesses that you've helped people start?
Oh, for sure. You know, I could go all day, but there's two that I really am proud of. One is from a guy in North Carolina. His name is Justin Clapsaddle, and he came to me. He was actually a West Point plebe, a freshman with me, and he got out. He didn't stay at West Point, and we kind of kept in touch. And he came to me. He's like, Jason, I'm trying to start a business. And I was like, well, I'd love to help you, brother. And he said, you know, I just learned how to make knives. I know how to grind, and, you know, and I want to turn this into a business. And I was like, well, that's great, man. What makes you so special? He said, well, what do you mean? I was like, well, everybody needs a story, you know, and in business, the best story wins, you know? He's like, well, you know, sort of, he's definitely a country guy. He's like, well, man, I just want to make knives. I'm like, well, let me see if I can help you out. And so I kind of remembered that, you know, my vehicle was destroyed in Iraq, and they brought the vehicle back, and it was just kind of doing nothing, right? Sitting there. And I thought, what if we took metal from that vehicle and I gave it to Justin, and he could make some knives out of it? It would be knives essentially with a story, you know? And I said, Justin, what if we took the metal from this vehicle that was destroyed in combat? What if we took metal from people that were injured in combat, essentially the shrapnel, out of their bodies, you know, and you turned it into a knife, you know, had a purpose again, and you repurposed this metal into something powerful, a symbol, you know, and you can call it war metal knives. And he loved the idea, and we went looking for metal from vehicles that were destroyed in combat, not just from, you know, Iraq and Afghanistan, but, you know, Vietnam and World War II and so forth. And we found I found actually a tank that was in the Battle of the Bulge.
Oh my gosh.
And I got some metal from that tank, and I gave it to Justin. And he found a Jeep from World War II. He made some metal out of it. And I remember talking to a guy that's like, you know, I'll pay anything for a World War II Battle of the Bulge knife. My grandfather fought in the Battle of the Bulge, and he was in a tank, you know, and when I get this knife now, I show it to everybody that walks in my house, and I tell them my grandfather's story. And it's a family heirloom, and my grandfather's story and his legacy and his life, it will never die, because we'll always have this knife, and we'll always be able to tell that story. And I just thought that was powerful. And I was like, man, you got something strong here, Justin. And we've given him a lot of money and a lot of mentorship, and he's just such a great guy. I'm just so proud of him. Another story, it's a little unique. I was in Palm Springs at Tradition Golf Course with a gentleman named Mike Moon, and he's a billionaire. He sold Behringer wines, you know, in the late 90s. He's crazy money, you know, and everything. And I'm terrible at golf, and we're playing golf, and obviously we started up a conversation, and he's like, you know, Jason, you know, I've made a ton of money, and I have no desire whatsoever to start up any new businesses, but I get ideas from time to time. I'm a business guy, you know, I'm an innovator. I've got a creative mind. And so when I have some of these ideas, I'm just going to give them to you, and you find a veteran to give those ideas to. And I was like, okay, Mike, sure thing. You know, what ideas you got? You know, he's like, well, Jason, I am so sick of watching people burn the flag on TV. I'm just sick of it. I want to create a fireproof US flag. And I was like, okay, Mike, what do you got in mind? He's like, well, give that idea to a veteran. I'll fund it. I'll find out how we can turn that into a real business, and I'll find out how we can make the material and everything else. And so over the course of the last 3 years, Mike and Kyle Daniels, who I introduced him to, a Green Beret that I served with, they've created a firebrand flag company, and they've partnered with a second largest flag manufacturer in the world, Colonial Flag, and they're making these flags, and I got some prototypes, or at least I did before I gave them away at my house, and they don't burn, and it's pretty cool, and I think they're going to do really well come Memorial Day and 4th of July and so forth in 2021, selling these flags because they're fireproof. It's pretty cool.
I got one for you. You ready?
Marcus,
Lay it on me.
All right. So we take those the metal from the tanks and everything like that. We make blades out of them and pistols out of them. Man, does anybody make pitchforks and shovels and like gardening tools? Because I spend more money on that stuff.
like everyday stuff.
Like everyday kind of machinery stuff. And molding, that's how you remember it, because I use that all the time. Up to my chainsaws and all the way down, but my weapons are vaulted up now. I don't get a chance to use them.
It's almost like novelty.
Yeah. So, but if I had something, that history in my hand while I was out working in the yard or on my mower or doing something like that, does anybody do that?
No, I'm not. That's a great idea. I've never heard of that before, but something to keep you
I don't know, man.
reminded every single day. You know what I mean?
It's blown up all the time. And with guys, it's personal. So like if you had something like our pistols and our weapons, when we get around the families, they got to be vaulted up. But like if I had something to remember that every day, with my everyday tools, like
your screwdrivers that we can't find.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So my father put the tool curse on me. All my tools come up missing. I was standing there when he put it on me. I like heard it. So it's a real thing. It's crazy. But like with everything else, with the gardening and the ranch, especially on the ranch and everyday tools from what we do, man,
We're
that
little
would be
farmers.
because that's where metal. That's that hardcore metal.
Let's do it. Let's partner together and talk to Justin, see if we can get something going here. That could be fun.
But that totally, man, that'd be a cool idea.
Yeah.
That's a cool idea. It is a cool idea.
Can you imagine having a tractor built out of a freaking Abram tank?
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
Something like that, twist that around like, hey man, this used to be on the battlefield. Now we've turned it around to use it so I can keep driving it.
We are very sentimental. So anything with a story.
I'm way nostalgic now that I got older, man. Big time.
We're super sentimental. So anything that has a story, we really love. Our whole house, everything in it.
Yeah, the gifts that we
something has a
get, it
story.
has a meaning behind it. And it could,
Yes.
we don't worry about anybody stealing it because it wouldn't mean anything to anybody else but us and the person that sent it.
Yeah.
And you look at it and you're like, well, that's the true treasure because of the story behind it.
Mhm.
Exactly. Like, you don't want a house where it's like, oh, I got this at Target. Okay, well, who cares, right?
Yeah.
You get a house that has purpose and meaning behind it. I'm with you guys.
Yeah.
Totally agree with that.
Awesome.
Jason, we can't finish this episode without you talking about your book a little bit. Can you tell us?
Yeah. All right, guys. So check it out. So I'm really proud about this book. It's called Deliberate Discomfort. You can see it behind me too, but here it is right here. And published this book in February. It's just an Amazon bestseller, but that's great. We've got almost 5-star reviews out of over, I guess, close to 250, maybe even more. I haven't looked at it in a little while. Reviews, and I'm not talking about reviews just for my family and friends, but like real reviews. People love it. It's helping people. And it's about getting comfortable, being uncomfortable, and accepting that deliberate discomfort mindset. Not having that discomfort, that feeling forced upon you. It's about voluntarily, intentionally, deliberately choosing hard things before hard things choose you. It's 12 chapters. It kind of talks about my experience going to be a Green Beret for the first time, walking into my company commander's office, getting his leadership philosophy in brief, learning about what this unit is all about, and then speaking to a number of people in my company, in my battalion, about having that deliberate discomfort mindset and how I need to adopt that as a leader in order to be successful. So each chapter kind of focuses on a different veteran and their story. We have a scientist that translates that experience into relatable and digestible action items. They tell you a so what and a now what. And then I come back in at the end in that chapter and I give you a practical application. So how does this affect me in my day-to-day, personally or professionally? And, you can get it on Amazon or you can go to deliberatenesscomfort.com and purchase a copy there as well.
Awesome.
It is. No, it's brilliant because I mean that's the big difference when we're coming up, and you kind of forget that you see a lot in prize fighters, because there's a difference between those who I came here for a fight, as opposed to sitting there going, oh, I was sitting here in a fight showed up. Well, I was waiting on one, or if one just showed up to your door and you weren't expecting it, right? And with us, man, to teach that mindset of like, yeah, no, I came here for one of those. It truly changes everything. So thank you for doing that.
Well, I appreciate you and appreciate you having me on, man. It's an honor to tell you about my book, and I'd love to send you guys one, and read it, please, tell me what you think, and we'll go from there.
We'll
I'm gonna need a
definitely do that.
signature on that. It's the best wishes.
Speaking of sentimental, we like our books signed.
Yeah.
Listen,
I want that thing
I
from
get it.
I put them, man. There's a wall. There's the hero wall over there. I got that up there.
Yeah.
Well, put me underneath the hero wall of the
Hey, man, this
good
is
dude
your
wall.
briefing. We got a pile on you and everything, brother. Welcome to the freaking team.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. If there's anything I can do to reciprocate or help you guys out in any way, I'm here for you guys. Seriously, I am, man. I'm a giver, not a taker. So whatever you need, don't hesitate to reach out, please.
Well, it's
Thank you
great
for your
talking
service,
with
brother.
you.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Tell us how, if you mention how our listeners, man, how they can find you, where they need to track you down.
Yeah. Do you have social media or anything?
I do. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn, and you can just find me on just Jason Van Camp on LinkedIn. I just kind of started my Instagram and Facebook, and don't have a ton of followers there, but you can reach out to me there as well. My websites are mission60.com for leadership development. So we forge commanders at Mission 60, and you can spell that any way you want. We usually just MISSIONSIXZERO.com, or you can find me at warriorrising.org, ORG, to learn more about how we help veterans. And if you're a veteran yourself that wants to start a business, come to us. We want to help you. We can help you. We do a great job of it. And let's see, deliberatediscomfort.com, where you can find the book, and challenge.deliberatediscomfort.com. You can find out about our challenge. And I think those are there's all the ways you can connect with me or find out about what we've got going on.
Awesome.
That's great. Yeah, I appreciate it, brother, man. We'll do
Thank
everything we
you.
can for you. Absolutely.
Thanks.
Oh, you guys are fantastic. I had a blast. Hope this episode really resonates with your audience and adds a lot of value. Thanks for your time, guys.
You bet, man. God bless you. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Happy New Year. See you guys.